throttles.
Whoa, get a load of that. Welcome back to another exciting episode. Today we are at the Cradle of Aviation Museum. So come along with us and see what we can see. At the time of our visit, the Cradle of Aviation Museum, located in Garden City, New York, was open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The cost of admission varies depending on what combinations you want. If you just want the museum and planetarium, just the planetarium. However, the general admission is $18 for adults, $16 for children 2 to 12. Seniors 62 and over are also $16. And they do have restrooms right inside the door, right next to the Red Planet Cafe. There's also a firefighters museum that does not include admission to the Aviation Museum, but for an extra charge you can go in if you wish. When you first go into the museum, you walk down this skinny corridor. At first it doesn't really seem all that impressive. It has a few places for the kids to go into helicopters and things like that, but then you turn the corner and you start to see what you're coming into. For instance, this Thunderbolt II, the A-10, is the bird that I used to work on in the Air Force. Brought back lots of memories. And there are docents in there that can answer any questions you have. Very nice people and full of knowledge. As we know, since the beginning of recorded history, humans have pursued the dreams of flight. Now, over the course of decades, experimenters, some of them in Long Island, New York, solved the basic problems of an aircraft's shape, source of propulsions, and means of control. Now, here in the Cradle of Aviation Museum, you will find a unique and rare collection of aerospace history. Oh, this is awesome.
This is the cockpit of an LL Airlines Boeing 707. LL is the Israeli flag carrier, and the 707 is the first jet airliner produced in the United States. Right here is the control column. It controls the path of flight. Here's the trim switches. Here's the parking brake, which is used only on the ground. Here are the throttles. The 707 had 4 engines, JT3Ds, though some had Rolls-Royce Conways. Now the interesting thing about these is these aren't all fixed, so say an engine flames out, like engine 2, I can just pull that back to idle. Right here are the thrust reversers. These would help slow the plane down during landing. Here's the speed brake. The speed brake is the same thing as spoilers, which disrupts airflow on the wings. This is the landing gear. And here's the flap lever. This is our flap 0. You need to extend the flaps during takeoff as it increases lift. Here's the rudder pedals. Just steer the rudder. This does the ailerons, which is on the wing. It helps it bank, while the rudders help the aircraft steer. Right here is the rudder trim handle. Another way to adjust the trim. Trim is it helps to to control the aircraft a lot easier. Right there is where the flight engineer sits. Now, what's a flight engineer? Well, back in those days, they didn't have digital cockpits, so the flight engineer basically was the human computer, and they had to monitor all these functions. Right there is where the navigator would sit. The navigator is what he sounds like. He helps get the plane where it needs to go.
Kind of like a human GPS.
Exactly.
One thing you will notice is that this is a large, modern, and beautiful museum dedicated to celebrating the history of Long Island's contributions to American aviation. In addition to permanent and changing exhibits, the museum incorporates educational programs and a digital planetarium and theater.
Whoa, get a load of that.
This museum is located on land once part of Mitchell Air Force Base, which, together with nearby Roosevelt Field and other aircrafts on the Hempstead Plains, was the site of many historic flights. In fact, so many seminal flights occurred in the area that by the mid-1920s, the cluster of airfields was already dubbed the Cradle of Aviation, which of course is the origin of the museum's name. The museum originally opened with just a handful of aircraft in an unrestored hangar in 1980. A major renovation and expansion program in the late 1990s allowed the museum to reopen in this state-of-the-art facility in 2002. Today, the museum contains over 70 aircraft and scale models of aircraft from various time periods. Many of the tour guides or docents and restoration workers formerly worked at Grumman, which contributed much of the museum. The museum consists of 8 chronological galleries with an approximately equal number of aircraft in each gallery. This is the only museum in the United States to cover all aspects of aviation space history, including pioneer aircraft, golden age aircraft, warbirds, civil, general, commercial, and jet aircraft, as well as spacecraft. The Cradle of Aviation Museum is one of the more popular air and space museums in the United States. It has installations that include audiovisual and unique hands-on and interactive experiences. This includes a cockpit trail where visitors can sit in an aircraft cockpit from each era. The museum's longtime curator, Joshua Stoff, is a respected aerospace author and an active member of the aviation museum community. There is just so much to see here, I can't possibly show it in one video. But here's a quick example of what you're seeing. Our family and I hope you enjoyed coming along with us to the CRADLE of Aviation Museum in New York. Come on back for additional adventures over the next few weeks. And as always, have a great day.